In the studio, we have Graham Rogers and Hazel Evans from the Sting in the Tail Festival. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thanks.
Right, okay, now, Graham and Hazel are here to talk about the storytelling performing festival that's sort of going on now for the next few weeks. Graham is the storyteller and Hazel is the organiser, is that correct?
That's right, yes. One of the organisers.
Right, okay then. All right.
I'm one of the storytellers.
Right. Okay, excellent. Hazel, would you like to tell us a little bit more about the festival?
Yes, the Sting in the Tail Festival is a world-class storytelling festival that comes to East Dorset every year, and this year it's running from the 19th to the 29th of August at a whole host of different venues throughout East Dorset, and even one in Hampshire as well this year, from medieval church and earth house, a model town, historic museum, and in each venue we have appropriate storytellers to come and tell stories.
No, sounds fascinating. Sounds fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long has this been going on?
It's been going on for 8 years now, and we not only welcome local storytellers like Graham, who I have today, but also national storytellers, all of a professional level, and providing stories for families, children, teenagers and adults as well. So everybody is welcome. There's something for everybody.
Okay, all right. Graham, and how long have you been involved with this?
Well, since the start, which it's been great, Sting in the Tail, because it's really sort of raised the profile of storytelling in the area. People generally have a problem with the idea of storytelling, because if they haven't been to a storytelling event, then they think of storytelling to their children at night, and when you sit there and try and read a story and hope the children go to bed before page 10. But storytelling, if your audience go to sleep, then you're not a very good storyteller. And our type of storytelling, most of the storytelling in this festival is performance storytelling, which means that you do a performance. That doesn't mean to say that you memorise your words like an actor would memorise their words, but you have a framework that you've practised and worked on and honed down, and you perform that. The great difference between storytelling and a theatrical performance is that you can interact with the audience. With children, this will often mean that they'll put their hand up and ask you a question, and you can stop and you can go off on a tangent during the story and try and get back to your story, or they'll shout out things and you can get involved. It's harder to get adults to do this. Sometimes in a club night, we run New Forest Storytellers, we run a club night, and it's easier there because it's a less formal event, I suppose, in storytelling. So you do get heckling, and you can start an argument in the middle of a story and get back to your story, and people sort of disagree with the way the story's going or something, and it can be great fun working like that.
Is it? I mean, is it something that in terms of you pick a book and, you know, hopefully people have read that book and want to interact with you in what their perception of it is that sort of type of thing as well?
It could be a book. I mean, I don't usually do modern books because there might be copyright problems or whatever, but generally it's a book or a story that you can adapt and frame to your own liking. So I might do a story in a manner that another story would do it the storyteller would do it completely different. Very often stories come from things that have happened to you. When I go on holiday, I usually sort of try and put a number of incidents together to make a story or a bit of history of the place I've been, and I like making stories up like that. So it can come from visits to places, it can come from books, it can come from a historical event that you want to make a story to fit into that historical event. That might be the sinking of the Mary Rose, or it might come from a film. I do stories of King Kong and Alien, which is a very good story to do to children. They're all very up on the technology behind a Class 5 star freighter, and so you can have great arguments about that. Yeah.
Oh, right. So it really it's not just somebody sat there with a book. You're actually sort of creating a story around.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Storytellers never sit with it. If you sit with a book, you would.
Well,
you'd get chucked out of the New Forest Storytellers. It's our only rule. You can sit with anything else, but not a book.
So the odd glass of wine doesn't go amiss.
Oh, you could. Well, that's usually yes.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll be honest, because I've never been to one, because I would, in my perception, apologies for this, but I would, traditional Jackanory type of thing. But obviously, this is, quite a.
For the last year, the New Forest Storytellers have been running a club in Ringwood at the Elm Tree pub in Ringwood, third Wednesday of every month, and that's for adults. You can come find out what storytelling's like.
Well, I will do that, Graham. I'm going to make a point of coming down.
Thank you very much. And you can come tell a story if you want.
No, I'm quite happy sat here.
You can come and heckle then.
All right then, and enjoy a nice bit of pop. Now, Hazel, how long have you been involved with Sting in the Tail?
I started with Sting in the Tail only last year, actually. I came on board as the coordinator for the festival, and just basically to put all the venues and all the storytellers together to make a diverse and dynamic festival. So last year we doubled the venues and events, and this year we've got even more. We've got 44 events in total over a 10-day period, including workshops as well as performances. So we've got workshops actually at the Earth House, which is also where the launch is going to be, for the whole of Sunday the 22nd of August, for children and for adults, so they can actually come and learn how to do storytelling, which is great.
Well, that's great interaction in terms of confidence for children and people generally, because it's obviously quite hard for some people to stand up in front of people, and it just gives that extra bit of confidence.
Absolutely.
So that's quite a lot of organising to get, as you said, 44 sort of...
Yes. Yeah, so start in January.
Yeah.
And storytellers are famous for being disorganised, so yeah, she's a wonder to get us all organised.
Get them all together, yes, and sort them all out and make something wonderful.
Okay, so going back, sorry about that, just going back to that, in terms of looking at the story and the venue, I mean, is that a crucial part to this, in terms of if you picked a historical story, do you pick a historical venue?
It kind of works in two ways. Sometimes the storytellers come and say, I've got this story, can it fit somewhere? And then I try and fit it into a suitable venue. Or the venue comes to me and says, we've got this particular theme going on this year, we would like this kind of story, and then I search for a storyteller who can perhaps create something new or adapt to that particular venue. So it works both ways, really.
Sounds very interesting.
Yeah, some stories are linked specifically to the venue. I see Tony Horitz is doing a story at Knowlton Rings, and that story will, I assume, be about Knowlton Rings. Other stories, you have to fit the sort of the theme of the story, or the mood of the story, into the venue rather than the historical setting. So, for example, for the launch of the festival at the Earth House at Cranbourne, the New Forest Storytellers are telling stories about Greeks. Now, the Earth House has got nothing to do with ancient Greece, but sort of epic styles of that story, and those stories and the Earth House seem to go together. So I think the mood of the stories will fit the venue.
So creating that mood and that environment.
And I must say that we particularly chose the New Forest Storytellers for our launch this year, because we were blown away with their performances from last year. So we thought, right, we need them for our launch. So we are looking, no pressure, Graham, but we're looking, we're really looking forward to this. And the launch is on Saturday the 20th of August in the evening.
Right, that sounds great. Well, we're going to have a break for a bit of music, and then we're going to come back and talk a bit more.
Thank you.
I don't wanna rock. I I wish the future was over so I could get back to being what I'm not. You got a magic 8-ball to help you decide if you're gonna sell your soul or if you're gonna buy yourself some pride. So wipe the stars from your eyes, 'cause there's 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. Yours, mine, and the truth. Some days are easy, some days are strange. Some days you wanna be yourself, but everybody wants you to change. Shouting Chinese whispers from here to Timbuktu. You're never happy unless you're obsessed. It was a crazy scene to walk into. I love the way you never do what you do, 'cause there's 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. Yours, mine, and the truth. When you've got nothing to lose, you can only win. The sun comes up and the sun goes down, and you start your day all over again. Life's intoxicating, bittersweet delusions. Everybody's got a broken heart, hopeless romantics are always losing. Get organized and join the confusion, 'cause there's 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. 3 sides to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. Yours, mine, and the truth.
There we go. And in the studio we have Graham Rogers and Hazel Evans, and they're from the Sting in the Tail Festival, and we're talking about what's going on over the next few weeks and what have you, things going on. And right, Hazel, over to you. There's the events that are going on over the next few weeks and so.
Well, the festival actually launches on the 19th of August through to the 29th of August. So over that 10-day period, we have 44 events going on, all different locations. I'll mention a few. We've got the ATC Earth House at Cranbourne. There's Walford Mill Crafts in Wimborne. We've got the Neolithic Rings in Knowlton. We have the Model Town in Wimborne as well, and then also we have Scapland's Court and the Museum and Upton House in Poole. Only to mention a few, there's so many, but you can get all the information from our fantastic souvenir brochure, which has just been released into tourist information offices.
Fantastically illustrated, if I might say.
Thank you. I also did the illustrations for the brochure this year as well, so I'm quite proud of that. Yes, tourist information offices, libraries, all of the venues, lots of community areas. And of course we're on Facebook as well this year. We've launched our Facebook. So if you go into the search and tap in Sting in the Tail, you can find us on Facebook as well.
Fantastic. Honestly, it's technology is going on. You mentioned there about the illustration. Who's done the illustration in the book?
Hazel's done the illustrations. She's
Yes.
organised it and illustrated it. Telling the stories is easy after that.
One of my other hats is I am actually an artist, so I was chosen to do the illustrations this year. So very pleased to take up the commission, and hopefully people will enjoy the book. There's for each page, each story has a different illustration to go with it. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. Okay. Well, I'll spend some time after the show and have a good read through that. And Graham, your stories, if we may.
Yes. Well, I'm doing work. I seem to have a lot of stories this year, which is very very pleasant. And some of the stories I'm doing with other storytellers, the New Forest Storytellers. We're a group of local storytellers that have been sort of combined, not at the hip, but sort of loosely for the last year or so. And I told you earlier, we meet at a club at Ringwood once a month. But for certain stories, we join together. And the launch story at the Earth House in Cranbourne this year, we're doing a collection of Greek stories. We call it the Cyclops' Other Eye. My particular take in that event is to do a version of Cyclops, but Cyclops is a well-known story. He was blinded by Odysseus. My version meets him after the blinding and how he helped someone in a quest for love. It's not one of my specialities, love stories, but so it's full of violence and humour at the same time. This story, and there's these stories. The Ancient Technology Centre will be the Greek stories will be very adult stories because they're full of gruesome events. But we've tried to take a modern sort of twist, not modernising the stories, but a modern telling. You know how Hollywood might take a historical story, and that you can always tell it's made by Hollywood.
Yeah.
So I hope that when you look at the New Forest Storytellers, you can always tell they're the New Forest Storytellers because they've got a certain sort of twist to them.
Right. Okay. That sounds interesting.
I'm doing some storytelling for children at Moores Valley Country Park on Monday the 22nd, and we did actually find in some pond dip in Moores Country Park that there's a monster in a little swamp there, and of course it is very dangerous for children to go and listen to this story because the monster will appear halfway through and probably eat a few, but if I don't eat more than a handful, I probably get away with that.
Excellent. Excellent.
And then we've got a teenage project we're doing at Upton Romana British Farm, and that's on Tuesday the 23rd of August in the evening, and that's Beowulf, a well-known story, and I've adapted it so I hope it's suitable. It will be suitable. They will enjoy it. It will be for teenagers. Beowulf, I've been involved with Beowulf for 30 years. I wrote a musical for Beowulf, which was the worst musical ever. And rightly was, when I sent it off for a competition, the competition was closed forthwith because the judges couldn't get over how awful it was. But never give up. So now I'm not doing any music in this story. I'm just doing the story of Beowulf.
Okay.
And the great thing about that particular venue as well is that it's at dusk. It's going to be very atmospheric, so it should be a very exciting story.
It does sound good. Well, it sounds like you've got your work cut out from this, Graham. It really does. Yes, please.
A couple more.
Yeah, carry on.
I'm doing at Sandy Balls. There's the locals. I live near Sandy Balls, and the locals call this place the Witch's Pit, but I see it's advertised as the Folk Moot Circle, which is a lovely venue in the woods in Sandy Balls. And I'm doing a story about Native Americans called Raven and the Eye Juggler, and that's a free event on 28th of August. So you can bring a bottle of wine and a blanket, cushion, whatever, sit down, and you can't fall asleep during my storytelling.
Right.
And Also, there's an event at Christchurch on the... Just tell you the date.
That's all right. So I'm going to say, by the sounds of it, Graham, you really have got your work cut out this summer, haven't you? You weren't having a holiday, were you?
No. I've had my holiday. 25th August. Cabaret of stories in the King's Hotel in Christchurch, and I was joined by the New Forest storytellers there to tell a collection of stories which will be full of wonder and fun.
Right. Now, there's, as I say, you've got a lot of work to do this summer. A lot of work to do. Now, we've spoken about sort of the various ages within that little snippet there, about it being teenagers, and we spoke about sort of, things being a bit gruesome. In terms of the stories, are they specifically geared for children, teenagers, or adults, or is it sort of it's a sort of a family affair, if you like?
No, well, some stories can be a family affair. The Native American stories I will arrange to be a family affair, so there will be things that will appeal. You can do jokes for the grown-ups at the same time as doing jokes. There'll be different jokes for the children. Yep. And usually grown-ups love watching their children listen to a storyteller. There's something fascinating about watching your children get fascinated by somebody else telling a story, and especially if they haven't got to tell the story. So the other stories will be geared, if you're doing stories for very young children, like the Moores Country Park thing I'm doing, it will be a very active story. Children will listen for a few minutes, perhaps 5 minutes, and then they will need to get up and do something. So you need to build into the story, marching, pond dipping, dancing, sword fights and things like that. Yes.
Okay, well, that sounds...
adult stories are hardest to do, I find, because adults never give away what they're thinking. When you tell stories to children, you can always tell when they're enjoying it, because their mouth falls open, their eyes get wider, and if they're not enjoying it, then they play with the Velcro on their shoes, so you know exactly where you are, and they teach you a lot telling to children. But adults just sit there stony faced, so you've got to imagine they're enjoying it after at the end.
Okay, all right. Well, it's been great having you in. Hazel, could you just recap in terms of where we can get the information from?
Yes, absolutely. I was also going to add that in the middle of our brochure this year, we've got Sting at a Glance, so you can look at the events for easy booking, and also there's a key there to tell you whether they're children's, teenagers, or adults, or for families.
Excellent.
As well.
Excellent.
So make sure that you get one of our brochures. This festival is from the 19th to the 29th of August. So that launches in about 4 weeks. Our website is www.dorsetforyou.com/stinginthetail, and you can find us on Facebook, Twitter and Flickr for more information about the event.
Right, excellent. And there's one final thing. I think you have a giveaway, is that right?
That's right.
Go on then, away you go.
Lots of tickets to give away, and today we're giving away some. We're giving away tickets for Little Red Riding Hood and Friends, which is going to be on Saturday the 20th of August from 2 to 2:45 p.m, and the venue for this story is St Nicholas Church Hall in Corfe-Mullen. And I actually have 3 tickets to give away, so 1 adult, 2 children, or 2 adults, 1 child, or 3 adults. Yes, indeed. So there's 3 tickets up for grabs. And the question,
yes,
in order to win these tickets, is who dressed up as Granny in the story Little Red Riding Hood?
So that's who dressed up as Granny in the story Little Red Riding Hood.
I know the answer.
No.
So phone in for a chance to win.
Yep, or you can always email us at studio@forestfm.co.uk. Graham and Hazel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming in and tell us all about that. It certainly intrigued me, and I think I will certainly make my way down to the elm tree, and I'll be finding out a little bit more about you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
CJM Landscapes. If you need new fences, decking, pathways, or your trees, hedges and